You're watching Cabinet Wise. There's always a second chance to do things right. Anyone will tell you a good story needs a conflict and a resolution. It's very satisfying, like I didn't finish it or something.
Mulder, tell them what you just told me. A cabinet without doors is just a box, you said?
A cabinet without doors is just a box. Well, if it saves time if you actually buy the sheets. They are expensive. They're about $200. We'll get into it, look into the design of the plywood and why I choose this type and why it works. Tonight's video, I'm going to finish the vanity. Part 2 of the white oak vanity build is going to be the veneer doors. So let's get to work. Then we'll edge band the parts, we'll line up the grain, we'll do the whole thing. We need 3 drawer fronts, 2 doors, 3 drawer fronts. And then the same on the other one. 6 drawer fronts, 2 doors. The fronts are going to come all the way to the edge of the cabinet. So these drawer fronts will go to the edge. 1/2 inch overlay, we'll put it at 15 3/4. It's going to be a 1/4 inch gap, 1/2 inch overlay for the pair of doors. This opening is 27. So we'll have a 1/2 inch overlay on either side, so that's 28. So the pair will be 28 and then divided by 2 in the middle. 1/4 inch gap, 15 3/4. Down to the bottom, the doors are going to come all the way down to the bottom of the frame. So it will be full overlay. Make sure we leave enough space for the countertop. So it will stick down an additional 3/4. Subtop and the stone will be 1.5 inches, and the nosing will come down to 2 1/4. And then that 1/4 inch gap will be between the stone nosing and the drawer front, which will have a 1/2 inch overlay. And now we have our sizes. Since both vanities are identical, we'll do this times 2. The grain is going vertical. I have a sheet of 4x8 white oak A1 plywood. It's a classic core, which has an MDF substrate. So this MDF is going to keep any ripples from forming in the veneer. It's going to keep it perfectly smooth and flat over time. So I'm going to cut each door and drawer front, then I'll edge band the perimeter. Drawer fronts and the doors. It's all out of one continuous piece. All the grain lines up. And we have this one over here. I'll use 1.5 of these per vanity. So I have drawer bank, pair of doors, drawer bank, and then drawer bank, pair of doors, drawer bank. And on the drawer banks, I just put some squiggly lines so that once I cut them, to remind myself where they go, so the grain all lines up. For the pair of doors, I'll just put a couple of marks horizontally. So once I cut the pair, they'll line up. Because obviously I want these two to go together as a pair, so it all lines up. And then this drawer bank again, the lines here, so when I cut them, I'll know where to put them back together so that this grain pattern continues through it. You have a white oak veneer with an MDF substrate on both sides. Or just go for a solid MDF core, depending on your preference. Rather than having to lay all the veneer yourself, just use this, cut each part to size, and then we're just gonna edge band it with white oak edge banding. Turns out pretty nice. The trusty Veritex edge bander, EB25. Has some 3/4 inch, actually 13/16 white oak edge banding tape, pre-glued craft back. It's heated as it goes through here and applied. And I'll apply it to every edge of each door and drawer front. Let that heat up. Iron, just in case any of the edges come off, which happens sometimes when you're going through putting all the edge tape on. Occasionally you're going to get a part that'll pop off a little bit. So far these seem pretty good, but usually if I'm sanding it, it could come off. So I always keep a iron on hand because it is heat activated glue. Also with this craft back pre-glued edge tape, if you don't have one of those edge banders, you could always use a hot iron of any kind, and the heat will cause the glue to activate. Actually, there's one that popped off there, so I'll iron that back on. Now that they're edge banded, it's time to do the sanding. That's the fun part. They're all sanded. Now it's time to put the doors and drawer fronts on the vanity. Now for the hinges, they're Blum hidden hinges. They won't be seen on the outside of the cabinet when the door is closed. You have the soft close mechanism inside. 3mm hinge plates. I have a block here, and then I'll attach it below the block. Now to bore the door. Time to attach the drawer fronts. Both are ready to go out. I'm going to actually be delivering these soon. And by soon, I mean I'm going to load them up right now. And then it's on to the next project. Once again, these are Veneer white oak doors. I showed how I made them with plywood. To be honest, the color matching is not perfect here, but I knew that going into it because it's gonna get a relatively dark stain. Also, I always take into account where the location will be. This is going into sort of an alcove where the wall is going to be right here, so it's not a place where you can see it from across the room. So I always take little things like that into account. I would have definitely color matched it better if it was going to be clear and also, you know, in a location where it would be seen, like where you could stand out in the room. But this is going to have a wall, you know, right and left of it within about 6 inches for both of them. Because they just wanted to have a freestanding look, even though it's, you know, nearly built in. It's not just sitting in the middle of a room. So yeah, normally I would take that into account, but this is the material I had, and that is, you know, darker than I would like on the side. But again, just because of the location and the fact that it's going to be stained actually kind of on the dark side, it will look great, no doubt about it. You'll not be able to tell any difference, especially from your vantage point here with a wall here and casting a shadow. So the key is really just the fronts. That's what you see. And the face frame you really only see when you open the doors or the drawers. Again, the countertop's gonna come here, as I was explaining earlier, within 1/4 inch to match all the gaps you have between the doors and drawer fronts. So the key is really just making sure the fronts all match with each other, as you can see they do, perfectly color matched and grain matched. You got the grain running down here, even between the door and drawer, and then these doors, and then you got these drawers here. And I never mentioned before, I realized, but these are actually brass feet. Can't remember where these ones were purchased from. Yeah, I mean, you can pick out stuff like this all over the place. But yeah, brass. Just make sure it's, you know, solid underneath, a good place to screw it in and secure it. So that's solid. As I've said before in the last video, here's the brass feet there. Everything goes together incredibly heavy and solid. Like, I mean, there's the 1/4 inch back, but 3/4 walls. I mean, these hold up decades. We have customers from 20, 30 years ago where the cabinets are exactly as they were when they were first installed. They are made to last. We always keep that in mind. So while we do like to always think in terms of time efficiency and how fast can we build something, we never compromise in any way if it has to do with, you know, the longevity or quality overall. If we do anything that looks like it's cutting a corner, it's not, as far as the actual longevity of the cabinets. These hold up. These are extremely heavy, extremely solid. Not a single wall in here can bow or move. I mean, nothing. It's a big brick is what these are. So anyway, it's been fun. Until next time. Out here, you know, enjoying the evening, you know. So yeah, sit back, relax, have a beer, wine, coffee, you know, whatever you prefer. Tea, I hear that's good too. Sometimes it helps people sleep. And let's just all relax together. Well, you relax, I'll, you know, do my work.